Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for tonight for this evening's edition of our weekly webinar series. And Tonight, of course, we've got some very fantastic guests in our midst. As if we don't have that all the time, don't we? We actually do. Tonight, look, if anybody is avoiding actually discussing Nigeria, discussing, the events that are occurring, the last few weeks have been particularly very unique. All of a sudden, we're witnessing things that we've never witnessed. Well, should I say, maybe that's wrong. Not that. These are not things we've not witnessed before, but we're just seeing it's like a different dimension altogether, in the affairs of Nigeria. And of course, we've had 7 years of the Muhammadu Buhari presidency, one which was, let's be honest with ourselves, one which was very much heralded when it was coming in. It was. Almost literally, people were shouting, it was like a celebration of sorts, and one can even draw a parallel with the OB movement today. I do remember very well in 2015, there were quite a lot of, to even put your point across. If you had anything to say against Buhari, was nobody wanted to listen to you. You were termed you were termed an anti-democrat. You were instantly denigrated. In fact, I you know I actually can draw a I can draw a very good parallel between 2015 and 2022. It was exactly the same way. Buhari was supposed to be a savior who could do no wrong whatsoever. No questions could be asked about him or of him whatsoever. But we've had 7 years of that government, and of course, we've got about 10 months or more, just a little over 10 months more of this government, and quite a lot of things have happened. And we want to examine, look at that government. We're not really here to discuss politics today per se. We're actually here to discuss policy more. It's actually more of policy than politics. We want to examine the government, the performance, the basically, it's standard in any walk of life that, if a company has got a contract with another company, or if there's an employment based on certain things, every now and then you've got to sit down, check out the KPIs, the key performance indicators, look at, measure the performance vis-a-vis the target, consider where you are. And basically, a lot of things have happened during the during the life of this government, that all of a sudden we must, of course, naturally Nigerians are more concerned about who takes over, which is, when you've had a government that quite a lot of things have happened, good and bad, people then suddenly become more aware and want to be involved in choosing the next one. But today, we've got two very special people in our midst, and they'll be helping us break down these issues. In fact, I really, really want to appreciate them for accepting to be part of this evening, because they're gentlemen, two gentlemen people that of great very intellect, and they're very sound. And one of the things I like about them, obviously I know one more than the other, but you know what, they have actually done my own investigations and found out that, I like the balance, the sound logic that comes when they discuss issues. And so very, very quickly, I'm going to introduce them one after the other. Uh, I'm going to start with the first person. Well, he was the president of a student union government in his school days, and obviously from there, of course, he's of the law profession, had his BSc, LLB, so to say, in law in from the former Ondo State University of Ado Ekiti, now Ekiti State University. Then, of course, proceeded to University of Lagos to have his masters. He's also an alumnus of, I believe, the Oxford University. Are you correct? I think it's Oxford, not the other one. And then in 20 in 2018, he actually contested the governorship. He was to contest the governorship of Ekiti State, but of course the politics of the parties, so I'm sure he realized quite a lot during that event, because I'm sure he soon realized that it wasn't just about your brain and your vision. There were other things in terms of the Godfather, the money politics, so but he founded Tope Adebayo LLP, which has grown to be one of the most successful law firms in recent times in Nigeria. They're into quite a lot of commercial law, constitutional law, and everything, So it is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you Barrister Tope Adebayo, former governorship candidate at Ekiti State. Barrister Tope Adebayo, you may unmute just 1 minute, just say hello, and then we'll go on to introduce the second person. It's showing that you're still mute. Okay. Barrister Tope, okay. We can't hear you. You're not muted, but we can't hear you. I actually heard you much earlier before we started, but we can't hear you now. But you're not muted at the same time. But it's okay. Let me just proceed to introduce the second person, and then you can actually come in once I finish with his own introduction. This second person is, like I said, is someone I've heard a lot about, and I've checked him out, and I believe these are the kind of people that Nigeria actually needs. But of course, whether we've gotten to that place where we give people like that the pride of place is another thing entirely. But anyway, let me introduce him. He's an active citizen. Obviously, he resides in Lagos, and let me put it. Yeah, he resides in Lagos with his family. He is a practicing petroleum engineer with specialty on marginal and brownfield management, energy sustainability and transition. I'll go over that again. He is a practicing petroleum engineer with specialty on marginal and brownfield management, energy sustainability, and transition. He has a keen interest on history of sub-societies, stroke communities, and how socio-economic changes over time do influence settlements, stroke demographic patterns of communities. Of course, he's a social critic. He doesn't put that in his bio, but I know he's a social critic. Rather, he uses active citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Engineer Collins Onyeukwu.
Thank you very much. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, clearly. All right. Okay, good to have me. It's been a pleasure. Interactions and this platform. First off, I want to congratulate you and your team for keeping this discourse going warm and active over time. And like your intro and your preface says it all, it's important to keep on discussing dialogue, because it's in those interactions that will be able to try to get to the critic, the meat of the matter, and then maybe expand our horizons and maybe learn more and understand our impulses, what is pushing us, what is stimulating us, and how we're rising to those stimulus. And to my co-panelist, Tope, my pleasure meeting, and hope we can have an interesting to ours also as we share ideas and learn from each other from the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Engineer Collins. It's such a pleasure having you with us. And of course, this is the first of many because we're looking forward to continuing the conversation with you on other things. Because beyond this, we also want to discuss. We want the. Oh, thank you so much. So sorry, I've been talking on for the past 30 seconds. Usually I mute myself once I pass the baton to the next person. Thank you so much, Engineer Onyeukwu. It's been a pleasure, getting to know you, and I really, really appreciate your time in our conversations. You come across with so much humility and so much simplicity, and for me it has really, really been. It's almost like I've known you all along, and this is going to be just the first of many. Because we hopefully within the next few weeks we want to actually look at the so-called deregulation, the problem, the hydra-headed demons, you can call them, in just the hydra-headed demons. So sorry, you can in the petroleum industry in Nigeria. All the problems, and why we keep saying we've deregulated, we're still regulated. There's, we just don't know what is going on, So, and I believe that's actually one of your other fortes, So we'll look to bring you up on that. So I believe Barrister Tope Adebayo is okay now. Is your connection okay now, even though we're not having video feed?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but can we? Okay, but there's no video feed from your end, but we can hear you loud and clear now. So maybe what we'll do is just send you a request for a video feed. Maybe if that does help. Let's see. Okay, we've sent you a prompt. Okay, yeah, that it worked. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, you may proceed.
Okay, well, let me start by thanking Tunde Wosheni, the convener of this very important program. Thank you for your labor over our nation. My prayer is that your labor will not be in vain. Amen. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Nigeria will surely turn around with people with consciousness like you, who believe that there should be constant discussion about how to move this nation forward. I don't know whether it is right to start the discussion.
Yeah, you may start. You may start, please.
I should wait. Okay. Looking at, I'll start by looking at the topic itself. If I'm right, the topic of today is the examination of key policy successes and failures of the Buhari government, and then extrapolating for the incoming government in trade. Let me start by, say what I understand by the word policy, which is a cause or principle of action adopted or proposed by an organization or individual. Now, in this case, is a cause of action identified or proposed by a government. Now, most people don't actually know how to evolve a governmental policy. Before you draw up a policy, the first thing is that you must have an understanding of the problem that you want to address with that policy. So without adequate understanding of the problem, it will be difficult to come up with an elaborate policy to address it. Now, apart from identification of the problem or the issue to be addressed with the policy must provide solutions that are practical, that are practical to the problem identified, and then things that are necessary, that are needed for the purpose of ensuring that the solution proposed work also will be stated in the policy. So when you see a governmental policy, it starts with an identification of issues, problems, and then it goes ahead to talk about solution to the problem, and then it goes ahead to talk about the personnel needed for the purpose of actualizing the solution apart from the resources needed by the personnel. So all must be articulated within the policy framework to enable the policy to work. Now, this government came on board and they came with very, very, very many beautiful policies. They drafted, you needed to have seen, reason policy. The question that I ask, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We lost you there for a second. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you now. The connection is slightly dodgy, but we can hear you now. And also, if we could have a bit more light. And also, if we lost you there for a few seconds. And also, if we could have a little more light coming to your face. Oh, we lost you there for a few seconds. The connection was dodgy. And also, if we could have a little more light to your face. And then I believe Engineer Onyeukwu has gone portrait with his video as well, rather than landscape, I believe. Yeah. So it's back right now. So Barrister Adebayo, you may continue if you can, if your connection is okay. Barrister Adebayo, please continue. Okay, I think we've lost him there. So I believe we've lost him there. We'll wait for him to come back. But we'll go to Engineer Collins straight away. Apparently, it's not Barrister Adebayo. Are you back now? Oh, okay. I think he's back. He's just connecting to audio now. So, and also this is one of the things I talk about all the time, that if we as a nation, if at this state of our journey, at this step of our journey, at this stage of our journey, if we cannot even have proper video calls, video conferences, without the usual attendant hiccups, connection hiccups, then it's just it just shows how far we've come in our journey. I believe GSM was introduced, was it 2000 and maybe 1999 or 2000? Thereabout, and by now we should actually people should not even be struggling for basic network connection. At times you've got to actually remove the video feed in order so the audio can go far, but I'm just gonna, I know Barrister Tope Adebayo is coming back into the room, but I'll go with you now, Engineer Collins. When this government came in, they came in with key policy areas, of course mainly the economy, tackling insecurity. Barrister Tope Adebayo is in, so I wanted him to hear that. When the Buhari government came in, the three key areas they spoke about was tackling insecurity. Of course, at the time they came in, many local governments were under the authority and the control of the Boko Haram terrorist group. So they came in and said, look, we'll tackle insecurity, we'll tackle corruption, and then, of course, prop up the economy. Those were the 9 key areas. And, of course, in 2019, by the time he was sworn in for a second term, this became a 9-point agenda, So, of course, these are things we'll talk about. But let me let Barrister Adebayo continue. But, of course, just to give a bit of flesh, a bit of skeleton to what we want to do tonight, so that we'll put flesh on them. Barrister Adebayo, you may continue. And if you could have a bit of light to your face as well. Your face is dark because you're backing the light, so we can't even see the face properly. So, but let just continue. Yeah, so we'll try to get that done at some point. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think I don't know what you discussed when I was caught up by our erratic internet connection in Nigeria. God will deliver us.
Amen. Just continue. We added. I was actually talking about what you've just said now. How bad it is to even have a video meeting in Nigeria. So continue, Barrister Adebayo.
Get better someday.
Yeah.
And
yeah, go on.
sorry, I was talking about our.
Okay, I'll quickly go. I'll let Barrister Adebayo sort out his connection. I'm gonna go with Engineer Onyeukwu now. Engineer Collins, without me going on any long talk again, let's just come straight to you. You already know where we are and what we're talking about. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thanks again. Trying to be brief and direct, maybe like the topic states about the successes and the failures of the current administration and as the way to project to create a policy framework for the incoming government. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good. So, first off, you mentioned in your intro about about this time in 2014 when the current when the nation was preparing to go into elections and the current group of the party that or the group that from the party that finally won the election when they were talking to the nation and there was this popular opera and support, trying to draw similarities to what's happening now. All right, and I'm sure it's because of that move that's why we're here today talking about because the nation was very, very hopeful, me myself particularly. All right, then we have 7-8 years playing now, and we're trying to ask what have been the successes and what have been the failures, and I'm sure without so that we cannot be able to maybe as a nation we don't have to make the same mistakes. And if there is that lets the failure that or whatever, people can always disagree that's failure. And then if there have been successes, so that we can be able to build on those successes. So I will start off by trying to analyze the last administration, the last 7-8 years for every Nigerian. So it's not trying to put it in the perspective of failure or success because if you say the results are clear, the political question is how do you feel? Every person how do you feel now and how do you feel some years ago? And I'm sure the answer is clear to everybody. All right, but one of the things, in my view, the administration came in with goodwill, with popular support, just like we're preparing for elections now. Anybody can gauge when mood is, and then maybe those goodwill, I think, collapsed because of failed, or many persons felt disappointed. But if you ask those in running the administration, they will feel that they have done excellently well. So one of the key issues was there was no communication, there was no kind of a contract with the citizens that is clear and committable. Shortly ago, you mentioned that the administration came with the 3 core areas: security, economy, and what have you.
Tackling corruption.
The corruption, yes. That was when maybe during the first tenure of governance, many persons were expressing disappointment. That was when the administration had to manage to expectations. Hey, we didn't tell you all these things. We told you, the 3 things. But then what was happening was citizens were all bringing their frustration or their wishes and casting it on the so-called opposition party then trying to come into governance. So there was no opportunity for this. There was no communication framework. There was no, like what Barrister Adebayo was trying to paint. There was no root and branch analysis to be able to come with a policy framework and then with a design to make those policies to work. All right, and communicate it back to the citizens. So citizens assume that there is a 9-point agenda, there's a 20-point agenda, that $1 is going to be $1, that petrol is going to be 10 naira and all this. So one of the key failures of the current administration, is not having a communication that is centered towards the citizen, not having a framework in which they can be able to communicate to the citizens, and the citizens then voice itself back. All right, because in a presidential system of governance, we are supposed to do that through the National Assembly. All right, but for some reason in Nigeria, that's not working. So for any presidential system or our Nigerian, no system of government is valid. Don't get me wrong, because I'm trying to strain. previous time we have all discussed, I always use the marketplace as a typical model, method, maybe the if which any group that is preparing to take our communities to study, walk through the diverse areas of our community, of our society, in our settlements. Every sort of national entity in this country is looking at stock markets, all right? From our communities, even before we become civilized, and maybe we become industrialized, from the 1870s when the various settlements were being formed. There's a market system, and those market structures seem to sustain today. That's the if you are a stranger, you walk into any market anywhere, in Sokoto, Kaduna, Lagos, Barr state, you tell this is within this chaos. But the market is one of the most governed, organized community in our society today that hasn't collapsed. The market might be 10,000 stores, 10,000 women, but they know themselves. Information passes around. Decisions are being taken. They have leaders and all that. Communication moves swiftly. All right? So, one of the failures of this government is communication. And there's empathic communication, there is being aloof, and there is not being accountable. Communication, when you communicate with somebody, it makes you accountable to that because it's giving your word, field that you are constrained, that this is what you need to do. So, to me, it's a failure that it seems to be mundane, but it's something that if I'm part of these teams that are coming up, I would need to take on board very carefully because you can build the momentum, the movement behind you, and everybody can exploit it to win elections. But suddenly, you can easily lose goodwill. Any government that loses goodwill will lose the power or ability to rule. And once the government loses ability to rule, then they can only impose their will or their policy or their trust, there's a better trust by act of coercion, power, using instrument of state, and then it becomes frustrating. And that's exactly the second period that happened. So one of the key areas is administration. Expectedly so, if you compare what happened in Nigeria in the last 20 years, or you can even take it to 1980, all right, after the first 1980 to 1985, when we have the first biggest infrastructural growth in this, from 1980 till date, this government is a government that really focused on prioritized infrastructure development. So the last was 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, the Minister of Works was quoted on news, not quoted, the guy was on news and saying that, yes, that these governments have done very well in infrastructure, and you understand the anger in the youth on its citizenship. And in a way, it was a bit curious why its citizenship or the society not acknowledging the infrastructure development which these governments have really invested so much. Excellent to me, I would feel that have they done well in that infrastructure? It's not for me, but if you make a comparison from 1980 days, after the first 5 years, what we have national development program which Shagara administration brings to there, that we have the first cycle in 5 years, from 79 5 years. Even when the military drop them down, but the military won't want that because it's a plan that around 2 cycles. It started
I think it was 76, 77. When the IDP power came to power, that system seems to on autopilot that gave back the government language and all that. So this administration was the administration after them that had done so much for but still, it hasn't been seemingly been appreciated because
the way the infrastructure came about, the way the development came about, doesn't seem to have citizenship ownership. All right. So I'll see a very key failure in the communication because you're not communicating well. You completely alienate segments of the society, and that becomes the first failure. And everything because it's the building block, the foundation where everything grows, everything collapses. All right. So even their star achievement, the key achievement, which is infrastructure development now, is not acknowledged because of this breaking down. So to me, I want to really see, and that hasn't been taken into consideration. I have not seen in this current movement that is happening in any of the we know the key 3 or the 4 moving political dispensations movement now. They seem to have alienated the citizens in their actual inaction. One of the key political parties openly announced a 100 million naira. It's like a bazaar. It's okay to say yes, buy your form. That's part of that kind of in-depth competition. But you don't have to make it prime time news. All right? It was prime time news. Then before you saw a list of it becomes a bazaar. All right? Then the current movement is happening now. Even the obedient movement seem not to be owing or accepted. Everybody's trusting policies on them. Officially, election campaign haven't started. Campaign will start in September. But it's important for us to learn. Because if you accept a movement and you don't want to prioritize or listen or pay attention to the promises people are making in your name, people will be able to get built up then and get dashed. And then the toxicity that we're experiencing now will be, and everything multiplies exponential order. So we thought that there was a toxicity against this current government, all right? Then it could happen times 10 in exponential order if the so that it can happen. But I will leave it here so that we can be able to have a discourse. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Engineer Collins. Thank you so much for that. You know, and I'm not saying it because we're live on air or because you're here, but you know, I've actually this is one I like the fact that I usually go very deep into, you know, policy issues, into the key issues that really matter. And you said something that strikes me really hard. In fact, you mentioned quite a lot of things, but of course you did mention that if there's a movement in your name, for example, if promises are made in your name and then you're quiet about those promises, you know, you're effectively owning those promises, you know. And of course you mentioned about the pound sterling is going to be equal to 1 naira or 100 things that we know that economically they're not even viable, you know. An economy that is not really it's not a production-centered economy. If you're, what do you have to sell? What do you have to, you know? So, I mean, if your currency goes at par, how does that help you on the long run and all things? But you know what? Let me not get involved in the conversation. I'm just the moderator. The conversation is for both of you. Thank you so much, Barrister Adebayo. I must thank you. I can see, you know, I thank you for your fortitude. Can see the struggle with the internet, with the location, everything. But the important thing is that, you know, you came through. So let's go over to you right away.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for the disruption. So before I was interrupted, I was talking about policy being identification of problems and then trying to address it, and then making provision for relevant manpower and the resources to make sure that the solution profile are actually actualized. Now, the issue you asked me is, as the Buhari government from 2015 to date, has the government come up with robust policies to address the multifaceted problems of Nigeria? If you ask me that question, I would say on paper, yes. The government has come up with robust policies, you know, to address the multifaceted problem that we have in Nigeria. The policy starts from the policy on economic diversification, which was clearly communicated, which for me is also key to Nigeria development. They put it on paper that they plan to diversify the economy to ensure that Nigeria is no longer reliant on oil, so that the economy can have every other areas from which it can economically breathe. Now, then there are social investment programs. There are so many programs that the government, you know, came up with. But the question I ask myself is, why does it appear as if things are going from bad to worse? Why does it appear, why are things going from bad to worse? Why are people not feeling the impact of the policy written by government? I look at it, and the answer I always give to this, nothing has been done by the government to address the answer. And what is the answer? We have avoided what is critical to the growth of our nation. And what is it that is critical to the growth of our nation? Developing manpower, developing people that will be the engine of the economy. I was talking to some people recently. Just a single individual in the United States of America, Elon Musk, paid $11 billion as tax in 2021. $11 billion is almost equal to our national budget as a nation. And one individual that a system encourage, a system where ASU does not go on on strike, a system where education is prioritized above every other things, a system where intellectual property is protected, a system where the government allow people to develop to their full potentials, encourage an Elon Musk to thrive, and it became so much of an asset to that system that he only paid $11 billion to governments and taxes in a year, not throughout his lifetime. And when you multiply that by our 600 naira per dollar, you are talking about 6.6 trillion by one individual. Our national budget, how much is it now? I think about 17 trillion. One individual. We are not talking about big gates. We are not talking about several of them that system has assisted. Now, Nigeria has been developing infrastructure. They've been building infrastructure. But the people that are supposed to be built so that they will be the engine that will supply constant fund for infrastructure to be built on a continuous basis and neglected. Most of them are at home now doing nothing because ASU has gone on strike for what is minimal compared to the amount that the government has been putting on infrastructural development. So human capital development that has been ignored by the nation is relegated to the background, is not elevated in the policy of government, of this government particularly. And because it is not elevated in the policy of this government, the country as the nation is suffering. Do you know that today we spend close to 85% of our revenues to service debt? Debts that Nigeria has incurred to be able to build the infrastructure that we are talking about. And that infrastructure is still scratching the bottom of the barrel compared to the need of the people. So as a person, in my individual or I would say family finance, the first thing I look for is if I want to live a particular lifestyle, let's say I want to be spending 300,000 in a month to run my home, buy food and everything. The question I ask myself is, Tope, are you going to be able to continuously afford this amount? Now the question we ask ourselves as a nation, and then if my answer is no, then I must put things in place to ensure that 300,000 is available to me next month, not after, on a continuous basis, and it will even increase. The question I ask is that if we have spent all our money on building infrastructure, and now all we are doing is to use about 80% of our income to service interest, not to talk about loan principal. What happens tomorrow when those infrastructure decay? Are we building sufficient number of people that will be engine of growth to this economy, that will deliver this economy from over a land of foreign goods? Are we doing that to ensure that these people will continue to pay tax? You will be surprised to note that last year, close to if my statistics is right, close to about 40% of total earnings of federal inland revenue came from only one company. That's MTN. What brought MTN forward? One right governmental policy that did not that Obasanjo enacted when he came. It came up with the telecommunication policy, and then MTN bought into it. Econet, what's the name of business? Etisalat and Co. And then one of them, I checked my record, paid about 40% of the total revenue generated by federal inland revenue in 1 year. I'll get the figure before we finish. Now, this, for me, accentuates the reason why Nigeria should go back to the drawing board. Go back to the days where, go back to Awolowo and some of our forefathers' theory about building human capital development. This, for me, is etc. That's number one. The second is the reason why it appears that these government policies are not making impact, they are not being felt at the grassroots, is because we are structurally deficient. Structurally deficient as a nation. And until we do something about our structure as a nation, until we realize that someone cannot sit in Abuja, call a minister, and be sending money for food for children in primary school in Barrow, my village, and expect that that money will be utilized appropriately, until we realize that we need to develop a system that will allow people to grow at their pace, so that whenever pupils in primary school,
where are your sisters? Call them so that I know when you ask them when do you guys want your Chinese.
Of the local government who live in that vicinity decide to embezzle the money, it will be easier to monitor than when somebody sits in Abuja and claims that millions of naira have been allocated for food in my primary school that I attended, whereas no amount of money was allocated for that food. Now, this has to be addressed. So structurally, when the structure is not right, nothing that you do at the top will make impact. You know, there are so many programs that they came up with
Go and call them. Don't they know that you have to order? It has to be delivered. They think they order at 7:30 and it will be ready at 7:30. Do they want ask? Okay, just ask them. Do they want to make the order at 7? Do you want to go there and go and buy it or what?
As long as the structure of our nation is not addressed. Personally, when we get there, I'll be able to talk about some of the maladies in our constitution that we have to be addressed for our nation to move forward. There's two things that I've identified: human capital development. Priority attention should be given to it. And for you to know that the government has not given priority attention,
They want or you want. Are you not going with them?
My problem that we have not since we were in school is still with us till tomorrow. The question you ask yourself is that what is the difference between the amount being that is needed to stop this as strike and what one person was allegedly stole? That's about 80 billion that the Auditor General was alleged. Is the Auditor General of the Federation was alleged to have stolen? So you know that it's either the leaders that we have now do not understand what it means, the impact of human capital development, or they are being mischievous. Because for all you care, the only reason why I can be talking to you today is because of human capital development. Otherwise, I'll be in the farm, tending the farm of my father. The only reason is because somebody somewhere made available opportunity to me to go to school. I learned in that school. I developed skills. I developed capacity. I came out. I used that skill to begin to earn money. And today I'm contributing to the economy of Nigeria and the economy of the state where my trade is. And I've been able to employ people, taking so many people, more than 100 out of the labor market as a result of that human capital development that was done to a village boy that grew up in Ibadan that never had opportunity to attend nursery school. How many of me, how many of Tope Adebayo is being wasted today as a result of priority that our nation is no longer paying to it? Two things I identify, and until they do it, any policy will fail. Human capital development, structural revival of Nigeria. We need to look at that structure.
Let me come in here. I hear you, but I think there is a narrative, maybe I feel that in society generally that we seem to have mixed, or we're mixed. Is the damage the current, well, I use what the current group of administrators have done to our national psyche, that in my view is going to become very difficult for the citizens to trust government, because this in 2015 there was so much hope, much trust, you know, and I feel that fabric, that national cohesion or national trust, that's, again, I still going back to maybe it might be soft, maybe communication, that so much trust have been damaged or destroyed in the ability of citizens, Nigerians, to have in their governments, that even if we create a system, because governance is about a negotiation, making a deal, painting a picture, and allowing a group, the people to be able to trust, to have a buy-in on it, and then work around it to make it to succeed. Maybe it's linked to this, when it's the human capital development, it's not about the humans. If the people will not buy into something, it becomes difficult to be able to execute it. And so much damage have done that national fabric of trust. All right, and I could go on and on. And what led to that the destruction of trust? Any group of crop, or the 3 or the 4 leading so-called leading groups or political system that will come in 2023 should be able to recognize that and quickly find a way to be able to end the trust currents. All right, this current governance became, you said that they had a policy. For me, I felt that the government didn't have policy, because policy hasn't been an issue. All right, a policy that is, if it's not well thought through, design and try to manage that policy within the way we are as a nation, within our demographic patterns, our social culture, what works for us. All right, if it's not properly designed and articulated, all right, and then sold to the people, and the people accept it, and I will just use and the people trust that you mean well for them. Coming into 2015, and I'll go back to Obasanjo administration. Obasanjo did so well in his first term, all right, and the people trusted him, all right, and there are some imbalances in the way this country was configured. Obasanjo had a chance to be able to restructure this government, and the people would trust him. Maybe that trust was sold for a third term that didn't work, and you know, then coming to this governance, one of the key things that maybe some segment of the society wants, maybe say police, state policing, or trying to bring policing to the centralized policing or security to the communities, to the states. All right. I recall there was a CN, or you know, before it was in old school, that this was a very key policy trust. You know, that was a trust of the people, and that political movement that had been in the opposition went to the center, and that singular issue was thrown to the wings. Now, if any political system come in 2023, all right, that trust for the people to yield becomes the key issue. So the point I'm trying to make is that the failures of this current administration needs to be understood by any of these 3 leading or 4 leading political systems that is coming to place, so that they can understand the critical areas where they fail. To me, I believe that it's somehow, I would say, thank goodness that this administration, I would say, there's a good brilliance to the failures of this administration, because the new common sense could have seen what works and what will not work. Lying to the people, not understanding the heterogeneity in our community, trying to address it. Not, I would just to use one air instead of but there's an element of when you promise something deliberately and to win power, we have no interest in executing what you promise. We know how people can use that as fraud, you know. So this is it's not the intention, but this is how it looks to the people. So whatever policies that needs to be adopted without the common government or the common political system, even now, good enough we're doing this for the campaigns go live proper, needs to tell them their message to pick on the failures, because there are so many trust destroying the cohesion of this government. This government didn't come in to destroy that, but those things have been all destroyed. All right. Even when you want to set a policy, let me use a simple policy, agricultural policy. All right. The agricultural policy works well in the 1930s. I was reading some article somewhere. Prior to the 1930s, late 90s, you know, going to the Second World War. All right. That this nation was one of the key building blocks that supplied the war efforts for the British Army. All right. This is not just about business, but agricultural produce. There was lots of stuff. So in the pre-colonial times or really colonial times, And there was an agricultural policy that was working as of that time. All right. Now, in this current, this is a topic that was very topical there. If we situate ourselves about demographic patterns, the way society is, the cultural affinities, the minimal impact in terms of migration and settlement and all those, there was an agricultural policy that worked. That is just supposed to be technology available at that time. Then they use the and then the agricultural policy then that was designed by the British, largely so that it can be able to mine produce. All right, because the employee is not there, and then before the
Okay. I think the gremlins have gone to work again. Oh, okay, he's back now. Okay, so you may continue, Engineer Onyeukwu.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll make this point quickly, because things work before. There are external influences, and time and chance that made it work. You don't just copy that in hook, line, and sinker and impose. So now that external agricultural policy was suddenly set as a policy, and that the administration wants to promote that policy. The population of Nigeria then was in the sub-50s, about 40 million, 50 million. The population is 200 million now. There has been enlightened awareness of ethnic nationalities. There has been pressure in terms of climate change, the pressure in land. So this government picked that policy, hook, line, and sinker, without communication, without allowing that to the bottom up. I want to impose that agricultural policy. And yes, he has put it down in place of the headsman and farmers crash. All right. So the point is that, in as much as that seems to be an government who says that, okay, we'll have a policy to improve on agriculture, to be able to settle some of these long-term issues, socio-economic issues that happen at the community level, but it was done in a way that trust was destroyed. All right. A similar policy was not assimilated. If I go back to the Gubernatorial administration, there was a new policy that administration brought up, which Adebayo mentioned, about human capital development. This government was trying to promote Almajiri education. But the community that this thing was designed to get trusted did not accept that. Maybe the way and manner is also homegrown, or maybe the way we have played politics and all those. So a good policy was disjointed. So one way or the other, the incoming as a policy trust, whoever emerges needs to understand these strengths, all right, that we have destroyed trust in government, we didn't communicate fully well, and sometimes we bring policies that are not bottoms up but top down, all right, and try to impose. So what's the point now that this could be the problem? So what are these suggestions that be able to emanate? So for me now, it's like Adebayo has mentioned a key political thing, is that structure. Whenever we talk about structure, because of the fears, the stress, the trauma, that the pains that everybody has experienced in the last 7-8 years, all right, then some people will be scared, will this restructuring, will it possess me? Will it give myself, my demography, or what I tend to represent a disadvantage, or how the politicians restructuring of this society. Let me call it, I would say, the way society needs to happen, but there's a risk in those restructuring. And I'll give you an example. Let me use the word BIA. Maybe it's an education act that happened in my industry. It took 20-something years to work in BIA and all that. It has been passed on. It has been passed. Then it's supposed to reduce regulation. It's supposed to make cost of doing business easier. It's supposed to attract investment. But it's really the reverse. But this is what we have been for 20 years. So because maybe it could be another discourse. So my point is that the structuring is something that's very critical. All right. But that has to be the structure has been properly midwifed with attention, focus, and let it bottoms up so it can be able to be good, because there's a way that restructuring could happen. It will fall in our face. All right. And it's a key area. The next government that is coming also from September 1 campaign starts. Restructuring has to be at the agenda, and citizens need to interrogate what the restructuring is. The politicians, the presidential candidates, their state governors, their members of us needs to be allowed to communicate. Not whenever they go to campaigns and have slogans. what are the details? What's the framework? How will it work? How will that restructuring unleash the human capital development capabilities that this country has? If you go overseas, Nigerians, the bulk of Nigerians constitutes the more productive demography of those countries where all over the country. Go to Saudi Arabia, Dubai. If you go to Indonesia, if you go to East, if you go to West, if you go to Muslim countries that are technologically advanced, you are Nigerians there. If you go to Christian, German countries, Roman countries, any divide, the Christian side, Nigerians are doing well. In the Muslim side, Nigerians are doing well. But if you come to Nigeria, we are not doing well. So there's a key disconnect. All right, so these are one of the key disconnects that we don't interrogate our leaders well. We don't create a structure that serves us, but we create a structure that gets imposed on us. We pick a structure that serves the leaders. All right, if you go on and on, but what is the key trust in why this things keep on happening? Because don't trust, there's no trust. If you now say let's go to national state and put in a deal that says revenue goes to the local government, goes to even the world, both taxation and revenue. So you get the revenue from the world, you spend it from the world. From the local, the world is lowest political unit in the global having today in the country. So it's going to be very cool. The first thing you see now, people will feel who are going to be dispossessed. It might be a policy that I won't say it's going to work, but it looks very good to work. But if you allow that, if you don't properly divide that, then it will be another layer of waste, another layer of inefficiency, and then that's deficiency now. People, citizens work on it actively, and when it will be a pass, then there will be failure. Then that trust deficiency will still happen. So this administration, in terms of just to take a boss, have really done enormous damage to the trust within in this our society. That any administration coming before they come with their policies to build over anybody they need to do, they need to take Congress of that fact and find a way to build that. Otherwise, similar to that happened 7 years ago.
Wow. Thank you so much, Barrister Onyeukwu. You've made some really, really very, very, very strong points and very strong argument there, and of course talking about the argument for the fiscal federalism, and I like that particular bit about taking it down to the word, without the efficiency that goes with it and everything, all the problems, so if I like the way you're situating, I'm almost I'm very reluctant to want to give another sort of structure to the conversation. I think maybe I'll just leave it the way you're going with it. Take it from any angle. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm hoping the way it is now, we're already 1 hour gone, and we've not even really touched into the subject matter. So it is my hope that we'll probably do a part 2 of this maybe in a couple of weeks if 2 of you are available, so that we actually look at more, because one, we've got to talk about security. In the last 7 years, is the nation more secure? We've also got to for me, that there's a tendency that flows through. I read the president's tweets in the light of, sorry, I don't want to take you off the angles, because I know Barrister Tope Adebayo has been taking a lot of notes. He's been copiously taking notes, and I know Engineer Onyeukwu also has some points he wants to put across, please. But it was just me looking through that tweet in the aftermath of the Suleja, of the Kuje prison bombing, and I saw there was this thing about almost an outsourced government. The government felt outsourced to me. Like the president had outsourced the government to, the administration to other people who were supposed to be totally responsible, and he was just supposed to be, when I read things about, I'm disappointed about the intelligence failures, and that is the commander-in-chief. That's the chief intelligence officer. That's the chief policeman of the country. That's the chief army officer, the chief naval officer, the chief air force officer. He is the commander-in-chief. He's the embodiment of our laws, and our traditions. But I mean, I just mentioned I don't want to take you off balance. We don't really have to talk about security today if we cannot cover it. Like I said, I hope we can have a part 2 in about 2 weeks. Next week we're having 2 academics back for the other leg of our ASU conversation. But you know, it's just me just musing, you know, just thinking about it. But let you get on with the conversation. I like the way you're bouncing it up. You can just jump into each other if you feel like, yeah. So Barrister.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for your contribution, engineer. Let me start by saying that any change, no matter how little, is not competent. Anytime you are even if you want to make some changes in things that you are used to, if human nature is totally against change, even things that will ultimately, lead to your liberation. If you are told to change, for example, your routine, let's say you sleep for 8 hours in a day, and someone says, come, you will not go far with this 8 hours sleep daily. Why don't you change to 5 hours, wake up, read for 3 hours? It will be a struggle, for you to do that. Ultimately, if you decide to say, okay, instead of reading for 2 hours in a day, I'll start reading for 5 hours, and then when I read for 5 hours, I know that I'll be a better person, and you decide to change. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be struggling with it. But ultimately, you get used to it, and by the time you change, you become a better person, personally. Same is for restructuring. My brother, it is not something that most of our lazy leaders will want to adopt. Unfortunately, there is no way out. Why are most of our politicians today avoiding, restructuring? Why are most of them running away from it? Most leaders are running away from it because it will expose inefficiency in government. I tell people what some of our leaders do. There was a time Sunday who said he wanted to become Oyo State governor, and somebody said that was infradignitatis. That was the language used, at that. And I said, why? Why can't Sunday vie for the governorship of Oyo State if he had the requisite? I said, what do governors of Oyo State do that Sunday cannot do? They collect money from Abuja. They gather the little resources they can gather in Oyo State and then share the money. So what is difficult is sharing money that you collect, free money, that is something you cannot do. But if governance is tasking, if you know that you have to do everything to harness the resources, human and material resources that you have in the state, to be able to pay your workers and at the same time develop the state, I tell you, so many people will run away from governments in Nigeria. So many of these leaders will not even touch it with 12-foot pole. Why? Because most of them are not successful in their individual right before going to government. We have the worst of us running government, and you expect best from them. Nigeria is a very funny, Nigerians are funny people. During election, they elect the wrongest of the leaders to lead them, and then they expect those guys to produce an Eldorado when they get to government. So that's what it's funny. Yeah. I mean, that's the system is. The system generates poor. The system promotes poor leaders up. So that's part of the structuring question. Yeah. So they definitely will revolt against it. They will not admit that there's a need to improve. But most unfortunately, if Nigeria does not go that route, most government, don't let me say every government, most government policies enacted at the center will fail. It will fail because it will be so difficult to monitor whatever policy that is enacted to ensure that it actually deliver the goods that it is intended to deliver. So change is something that human beings resist. Now, you now ask yourself, how then not, just look at the situation we had and say there is no way out. One of the ways to get out is that some of us that are conscious, some of us that have capacity, some of us that understand the things to do cannot be too far from our politics. We cannot afford to be too far from our politics. Today you realize one of us in UNAD, Abel Extu, had just been elected as the governor of our state. Now, the alumni assisted him in the process of his ascendancy to that office. He's going to take over power from Fayemi in October this year. You can start at that level and begin to engage and give that person the right ideas. And what are the ideas? All states must begin to look at a time in Nigeria that real fiscal restructuring will be enacted. Because we will not continue like this. It will get to a level that those that go to government for the purpose of stealing will get there and find empty treasury. It will be so impossible to even steal national resources if you continue the way we are going. So for some of us that have access to people in power, especially at the state level, we can begin to talk to them about rethinking the governance of our state. And so that we can have, at one point or the other, a state that can be example to some other state. For example, state like Ekiti. Ekiti is 90% dependent on revenue from its federation account to sustain. Now, how do you run your home? I have a home now. I have a family. I depend on my big brother to give me money to survive every month. So to take care of my wife, my children, and my family, I have to wait for palliative from my brother every month. The moment something gets wrong with my brother, I'm in crisis because I am used to that free money. Shouldn't our state begin to think that what if something terrible happened to the federation? Now most states cannot pay. In fact, one governor, Benjamin State governor, was blaming Buhari for inability to pay salary in the state. He did not. He came on national TV and was blaming Buhari. He said Buhari did not borrow them money. That the government blocked. Because how does America get to a point?
Let me come into a point you made. In the way I have a different opinion. I won't use why I disagree, but I see it from a different twist. If can we check globally the best leaders in the last 20 years? Maybe United States people can claim someone like Barack Obama, all right? Maybe, I don't know, in Europe or wherever, but the best leaders in the last 20, 25 years that are still alive, if we bring them to rule Nigeria the way Nigeria is today, I suspect if they didn't become exceptional, if they rule normally, we still might still have the same results to happen. So to me, the issue with our governance system is to me that structures will operate. I'm struggling to, I want to use a better word, not structures, so that people don't get into the like stated. It's as true, it's not situated to serve us. So the point I'm making is that, yeah, you said that let the good people go into governance. I don't really think that bad people go into governance. The best people at that point in time are the people that go into governance. For instance, it's not easy to go into governance in Nigeria today. You know what, if you try to run for governor, you know what it takes. You know how to be.
Yes, I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Yeah. So the point you made earlier, where I tried to agree is that I wish it to be a good thing, and maybe this government are going to be a way for the country to be broke, for us to run out of money 100%. All right. It's important for us to change the structure of our governance, the mindset, to move things down to the unit, to the world. All right, and bankrupt the center. All right. So what this thing will force is that first, why do worst people, and I'm from Abia State, and I use an example. Abia State people having the worst governance year in, year out. What's the reason? Because we have bankrupt, we have killed that society, that our middle class, our best, our most healthy, our most dedicated, have left states in a way to be able to income. Like my classmate now, some of my 60% of those that had secondary school in Abia State or Imo State, 60% are all overseas. They are doctors all over the world, engineers all over the world, pilots all over the world. Not like the rest of us, 40% that are currently in Nigeria and in Lagos, maybe Abuja or Port Harcourt. So when it's time to buy government councillors governors for, maybe I could go and buy it, but I will need to be flying every now and then to Umuahia. I can't sustain it because my business and all that. So you see, the best one then we find it, and then you know what it means, you can't be off something like that. So if we find a way to mean that if you take the way societies emerge and form and survive and sustain, it goes with commerce, it goes with the club, all right? It goes to the source, to the root, where the money is. If we can find a way to bankrupt the center, if we can find a way to collect taxation and revenue at the state or at the base, people or society, demography, settlement, communities will change to follow those one. We're trying to do that experiment as a nation. Let me just explain. Maybe you may want to check some data later. You find out that most of the taxes that the government at the center collect come from like 3 or 4 states in Nigeria, like 90% come from like 3 or 4 states. So that shows that most of the states that we have are parasitic. The reason you're right. In the current economics, they are not productive. Now, let me tell you, why do you go to work every day and then find a way to ensure that you have money at the end of the month to settle your family and settle your angers on? Because there is no alternative. There is nobody you run to. So you have to think. You have to think out of the box when there is no alternative. For example, I was given the example of a younger brother depending totally on his elder brother. And year in, year out, the elder brother ensures that money is available to take care of the younger brother's home. A day comes, bad time happened to the elder brother. Instead of the younger brother to have started putting ideas in place and setting up something to earn extra income and save, in case it is impossible for the elder brother to maybe sustain, putting insurance in place, he refuses. He's just spending spending all that the elder brother gives on a monthly basis. And the moment there is problem with the elder brother, the younger brother will definitely go into life of poverty. That is what we are witnessing. The reason I mentioned about, I agree with you that when the desirable is not available, the available become desirable. Most of us that have the great ideas to turn our state around, we are not available, to even play the politics, to even participate in the process of electing our leaders. And so, it is the people that they see, that they can relate with, that they will eventually, elect. You made a point, which I agree with, that even if they bring Obama to come and run Nigeria as it is, it will fail. But why Obama may not fail is that system, anybody that grew up in that system understand what is called first and foremost, putting the first thing first. You will see the God that created us. What was the first thing God did when he created the heaven and the earth? The earth was without form and void. The first thing God did was to put order in place. He created light. Now, our leaders don't understand that simple principle. Go online and go and check the website of most of our states. You'll be appalled. They cannot even sell their potentials to the world. Most of the states, and some of them that have opportunity to get money, like the Cross River State, forgot that most of the what I would call tourist destinations in the world, most of the successful ones have developed The first person they mentioned, government mentioned, is a professor. Before the professor got there, I've been to Tinapa. Before the professor got there, they did Tinapa, they did Obudukapu Ranch. Yeah. Tinapa and Obudukapu Ranch cost about 40 billion naira. My brother, if you go to Tinapa today, you may not see 3 pieces of land. Just be there. Why did it fail? It failed because they did not put the first thing first. Transportation to Obudu was not a priority. If you travel from Calabar to Obudu, you will not go there again because it's a terrible road. How do you put such amount of money in the bush without ensuring that you construct accurate and right infrastructure to lead people to that place? The same thing happened to us in the state. We will spend money on Ikogosi one spring. The road to Ikogosi, I don't know whether it can be repaired now. Once you go there once, you don't want to go there again. Now let's leave our leaders. We know we have issues with some of our leaders, and the system as it is will continue to produce the type of leaders that we have if something is not done urgently about it. But I am very persuaded that until that it is allowed to eat the state, and people now know that there is nowhere to run to again. Necessity is the mother of invention. There are so many. When I wanted to become governor, the first thing I did was to say, you know what, I want to speak to dirty data. In talking about the solution to the problem of a state, I went to State Internal Revenue Office. I said, can you give me the number of people in the tax net of a state? My brother, there was no data. So how do you even start drafting policy when you don't even know the number of people that are taxable in your state? So you cannot even plan. Unlike this foreign country. Now the point I made about Obama, if those people come to run this country, the first thing they want to do is to put structure and order in place. That's not even talking about the federal government. When are we going to stop having dubious statistics in Nigeria? Unreliable statistics. Our government do not know the impact of giving unreliable statistics to the world. We don't know. America is able to access unlimited resources to develop their country from time to time because of their statistics. When they show China that this is the amount of money they realized per year, and this is the number of taxable individuals, and this is the growth pattern for the past 10 years, and this is our projection.
I was waiting for you to come to learn because I've taken time to put some work today. It is about following the money. All right. The earlier point you made, as long as there is a center, everybody goes to go and collect money and fund every month, every end of the month, and that money is shared down. As long as that structure keep happening, then there is no incentive to even take statistics. You don't take statistics or census for the fun of taking it. You take it when there's a need. For instance, the earlier comment you made that maybe you run the whole thing.
My brother, the point I'm even making is this. If you will, for example,
that's the point. By putting the center being structuring this country is important. And none of this, the thrust of this discourse is that I'm not hearing that from any of the 3 or 4 leading movements coming in. How do we fix that? And this is what's really equally hamstrung this current administration. With the mindset that federal government is a perpetual cash and wash system. That's why our revenue is our expense is almost 4 times our revenue for the last 7 years. Yes. Because of that mindset that the structures we have in place is akin that the center can keep on having money. When we can't take the oil revenue, then we'll go and start taking floating euro bonds or taking debts on behalf of the country. Then every part of this country is viable. Let me give an example. Every part, go and seize any part of any western in this country, in this state. Go and seize it. People will fight, people will kill for it. They're not just killing because of the sentimental value. Well, they're killing and fighting because of the economic value. Alright? But the thing is that the structure is good. If I go to the state capital or if I become a delegate and I get money, I will have an incentive not to be doing what I need to do. I will have an incentive to be able to develop a consumption thing that is not sustainable to my enemies. This is
years, 300 years. There are ways, there are schemes. When dynamics change, they innovate and change. One of the things that made the First Republic, the colonial era by the First Republic, successful was that the way the British structured the country, they came in as far as and they built around it. It's that every unit of the country is a revenue generating base. All right? People work their backsides off, and there was taxation. There was a time this tax department went viral.
There was a time that even the Abba women rioted.
Yeah, it was an economic tax. It was an economic war. There was a time I saw a document, a tax document of federal colonies, I think in the taxes. The tax from cattle was enormous. So that's when the North said that it was the agricultural tax that we used to build in this country. They could have a point for that. So the point is that when we win the center of something money still in Abuja, you pick tax from Nigerian breweries, pick tax from MTN, and then go and come and share that. There's no incentive to work. You mentioned that it took time to build MTN. It took time to build Nigerian breweries. It took time to build all those things. So the point is that if we change that structure, and I wanted to use the word state creation, it's a pseudo experiment that seems to work, but people don't get it. Before coming to Lagos, I spent most of my time in the south, the creeks of the country, River State, Bayelsa State, Delta State, working in all those little fields around there. There's a time in Engr, Bayelsa State today is a wasteland. All right, nothing changed. It's a state was created. Suddenly, I didn't go to that environment for another 9 years. I went to Engr. I said, whoa. All right, because a cash center had been developed in Engr. Maybe it's a cash source. The money is evil, and based on some of those industry, local institution policies, that let's become 13% derivation and all those things bubbled up. All right. Yeah, some new crazy millionaires emerge, you can call them, whatever you call them. But the moment that you push money or you make even family units are revenue based. Every family home, every happiness in your community. Because it's not about how much are you generating, then let me put my expense lower than how much I'm generating. Then I start family, then people start growing, they start managing how you grow your kids' school. Okay, now I cannot afford the big schools. Okay, this is school around me that I can afford. Then you put your child in that school that you can afford. Then you pay attention there because, I cannot go to the big schools. Let me pay attention to that local school my kids to make sure it's just in the right thing. They are competitive in their exams. So that is how a child from a poor family will grow. A child from a rich family will grow. So we needed to, if you follow demography as human settlement, and that's what this economics does. So whenever we say let us restructure this country, some persons or some sectors we have to have these conversations. That's why the new political theaters actors that are coming in have to find a creative way to communicate this to every segment of the country. All right? When we want to restructure, the way the structure is being fought or defended is that, we want to remove milk from a group, some people's mouth and which time. If we communicate and restructure it, is that we need to restructure the way we see this to make the country effective and efficient. Every unit, let me give you an example. Let's go to the north, the Bear North now. Maybe we'll call it the Bear North now. And there's close geologists. I know some very good friends, they might be on this call because I'm trying to buy some of them. We're all in oil and gas, we do geology, we look for the, trying to look for small views. But this guy who did all those things, cost of doing business, cost of the meeting, this chap said, no, I'm not going there. They use their geology skills and want to start looking for mines, solid minerals, limestone, marble, granite, barite. This guy started in the middle of something. This guy might be on this call. Maybe if he's here, he might make a chat back and see me. All right. This guy started going to the Bear North, traveling, and mapping this thing and making tons of money from it. Even in the middle of this overall crisis, I know a place in the north today. This guy and his group, they have over 30 Chinese in the middle of nowhere, and they have over 30 Chinese working for them in mines there for more than 7 years. You defend there, let us fight it because there is money to be made. You have brought investors and all that. As for this thing, just recently, maybe with all due respect, I said that the current governor that was a former minister of mines, this guy came in and tried to put taxation and processing that and so that give them license and so that you can be able to pay them in tax base. They didn't receive, but the guy is like, but all of us, these are things that happen in the Bear North. Majority of the mines now that if you go to anywhere you go to this country, you see Chinese. Follow the Chinese follow the Chinese and the Indians. There are family Lebanese or Chinese Indian families have lived in the north for 3rd generations of their Muslims. So then that if we find a way to bankrupt the center, and that's what, when the period of Nigeria was at its golden age, during the First Republic, the center wasn't that vibrant. It was the regions, yes, that were generating this. Look at, I was saying about look at the Google House. When that tower was built, I look at that structure. But now, if state governments want to build structure, they build a building that can't even stand to season. But look at that structure that was built from the farms.
Yeah.
All right. This is what we talked about was built by the Eastern government during the First Republic. It was a deliberate policy. Okay, this area, what works and what works there. So if we have restructuring, it's easy to talk. But me and you know what is the trust factor of restructuring in a country today? Any person that mentions it will lose election.
Let me make this point to you. Let me make this point. I think like you said, communication is very key to success of a restructuring drive. And then apart from communication, we need a leader who understands the long-term implication of that idea for a nation. Most people that we have now, they are myopic. They think that if that idea is implemented, it will impoverish their people. Meanwhile, the poverty of the nation is increasing by the day because we are not embracing the right structure. So the first thing is, let us hope that the 2023 election will produce a thinking leader, at the center. Because once, Nigeria has a way of lining up behind, someone at the center. So if you have a philosophy leader at the center who understands that a human being, anybody created by God, has limitless capacity and capabilities, he will embrace any idea that will lead to the unleashing of the capacity and capabilities of the 200 million Nigerians. And that will invariably result to multiple wealth for Nigeria. I tell people, America is not rich because it's a country alone. America is rich because its people are very rich. Today, if you look at the data, America has about 17 million millionaires who are paying taxes to that system. That is, those that have $1 million and above. There are 17 million plus in America as of today. UK has about 2 million millionaires. Spain, about 905. China has about 5 million. Nigeria has 29,000. Let's even assume that most people are not declaring their wealth, but you will know that they are public servants. The question is, how many are they? How many are the public servants that have such huge amount of money that they are even hiding? Are they up to 10,000? They can't be. So that means as a nation, maximum we have 100,000 millionaires. Most of those 100,000 millionaires, 80% of them don't declare their wealth, so they are not beneficial to the nation.
One is starting, it's not working. And the starting money is not your money.
So it's not working for the nation. So the reason you see America being able to undertake a huge project is because they have a large number of people, because they've implemented policies in the past that led to the unleashing of the potentials of their people. And because those potentials are unleashed, the government become the beneficiary. It's like you training your children. If you have 4 children and they are well trained, and each of them collects a salary of $10,000 per month, and they remit about 1,000 to you as their father, you are 4,000 rich every month. Let's say they remit about 2,000, you are 8,000 rich. If they do 3,000, they say their dad is a good dad, they are giving you 3,000, and taxes is not supposed to be less than 3,000. That means you'll be richer than even your children. That is the way it is for a nation. So when we have a philosopher king, I pray Nigeria will have one. Or even if we don't have a philosopher king, a king who gathered philosophers around himself and is able to listen to those philosophers, and there will be people that are thinking about the larger interest of Nigerians. They will begin to encourage the leaders about policies Nigeria. It may not start day one. For example, when Awolowo was doing the free education in the Southwest, the impact of that policy was not felt until later. You see the gap between the Southwest and other regions. Somebody somewhere sat down. The last time I was in Atlanta, I was just looking. Anytime I travel, I just look at the nation. And the only thing that comes to my mind is that some people paid the price. At one point or the other, they chose to reduce themselves to the background. They made themselves of no significance and drafted policies and programs that led to what we are running, to that nation to go and enjoy. My prayer for Nigeria is that we will have either a philosopher king or a king that is surrounded by philosophers who think more of what will be to the utmost benefit of the nation. Otherwise, we will come back here in 10 years' time and we'll continue to discuss. Say, if we have the best of men to come and rule us today, and the person decides to run Nigeria under the system that we have now, without making a change to that system, 10 years down the line, it will look as if he has not done anything to change the nation. Look at the railway line built. Look at the people that were not built, stealing, breaking it and destroying what the government built. And Yoruba will say that if you build a house and you refuse to build your children, the children that you refuse to build will sell the house that you have built. And that is what is happening to us as a nation. So for me, any discussion about Nigeria must begin with leaders that will look at things and say, come, we need to put appropriate. Let's not forget restructuring. What of ensuring that we become a data-driven country? A country that will look at it, for example, now to interrogate our leaders now. If you want to, for example, ask Tinubu question, they will be asking him, what are you going to do about Rio? When you want to ask the question,
you make a mistake. We are a data-driven society. I don't know where you reside. Go to the nearest markets. The people in that market, the market leaders, the market women, the market authorities, they have data. They know everybody that sells there. They know they have an idea about the number of persons that are coming to the market.
So that's not the data I'm talking about. Let me explain.
No, I'm going somewhere. Because that data, that information is important for that sub-unit. It has direct meaning. It has direct impact. And that's how it grows. All right? Because the way that market, social economic system is structured, all right, there is a direct linkage, there is a purpose. So those market women or market society keep on adapting things that serves them. That's at the end of the day, earns an extra 1 naira or saves an extra 1 naira in their pocket in their society. Another thing about this one, there's this thing called Osu, that is a local men-driven. There are some Osu groups. Women, when I grew up in the town in Aba, in the southeast. All right, that thing was many of those Osu were going on. Our mothers do it. Our senior aunties do it. Goes on for years. Very wide, very big. Sometimes you see they come to their shops. A man will come with a piece of biro, a lady, and they put 1 naira or 50 over there, and they run. Keep on going.
That's not the data. That's not the data I'm talking about. Let me last so that you understand me.
We downgrade some of those things, but I will wish that had it been we build a society system that grew this America you mentioned, they all grew up bottoms up. Where's Fargo Bank? If you check the history of Wells Fargo Bank, this is how Fargo Bank, a man and his son and his brother on horseback, galloping from point to point, collecting money from rural persons before they started on railway and those things grew. But sometimes we build a society that is disjointed. All right. I'm not saying data here, but until we start getting systems, policies, frameworks that are rooted down to the very core and growing there, no matter how quote-unquote it looks, all intelligent on modern it looks. But whatever we need to do, we need to get a structure that is to our bare bone that serves us. All right? A leader, like you said, that can communicate that, understand that, and build this country. Validly, should be able to surrender their trust to be able to do that. When you lost an opportunity in this government, in 2015, that was what we thought that we were coming in for. That was when there was massive support. But then, we didn't have that for this philosopher came, cerebral leader that can be able to know that I'm holding the trust of the people, then I'm coming to do a change. Something that is very difficult, very hard, very painful, but to communicate to the people that yes, this is for a time, but we need to bear in so that it's for the common good. We lost that opportunity. The question is that the current group that are adjusting for power, are we pushing them, demanding that from them? Those who a movement is building behind them, can they be able to be courageous, be bold enough, be able to articulate this movement, the promises, and frame it, and communicate it so that people can trust them? If this doesn't happen, I guess that's what we're here. If this doesn't happen, the disappointments that will happen post 2023, I wish that the society, the country can be able to bear it also because of strength.
Yeah. Now, thank you so much for
I don't know how the comment if he's seen a hand like this, or if he's taking questions.
I'm just gonna I'm just going to let I think Barrister Adebayo was he kept saying he wanted to clarify what he meant. Please, if you can do that in about 3 minutes, so that obviously we need a part 2 to this, but we also need to take questions.
Can we also be allowed to make comments?
We're gonna get please.
Both of you have been talking for a long time. Can I be allowed to talk? You've been talking for a long time.
Okay. Now we have 2 speakers today, and that's Engineer Onyeukwu and Barrister Tope Adebayo. It is their job to actually discuss the topic today. And then we're gonna give room. I'm gonna give Barrister Tope Adebayo the next 3 minutes to clarify his point, and we're gonna give 15 minutes. Can I ask people, please do not unmute yourself? We're gonna unmute you, otherwise we would have to make it impossible for anybody to unmute themselves. So we're gonna give room for everybody to ask questions, and we're gonna allow you to make comments to contribute to this. But please, just
So let me just
go ahead.
Let me make the point in 2 minutes. Now, what I meant by having that data-driven campaign is for nations like America and most of the nations that we want to port into. You see that whenever their leaders are to be interrogated, during campaign, people will tell them that this is where we are in terms of number of employment that the nation has created, between years so and years so. Now, where do you want to take us? We have this number of unemployment in the nation. We want that number to reduce by the next 2 or 3 years. What are those programs that you want to put in place? And then the leaders will answer those questions in convincing way, because they have a system that can bring them to question. So that's what I mean by data-driven, nation. Because, and you hardly find dubious data that we have here. For example, in Nigeria now, the Bureau of Statistics have been releasing very, very wrong figures about our inflation, the percentage increase in inflation, for the past 1 or 2 years now. They keep telling us until about 2-3 months ago, they kept telling Nigerians that inflation is dropping when food prices and everything in the market is increasing. So it's difficult to plan with such data. When you go to market and you bought rice for 15,000, per bag about a year ago, you went back to market and then you bought for 25,000 to 30,000. And the Bureau of Statistics is telling you that inflation is dropping in Nigeria. Prices of cement jumped from 2,000 to 3,000. They release statistics to say that inflation is dropping. So it's difficult to actually plan with such economy. And it's difficult to interrogate our leaders. Now, Tinubu is coming, Atiku and all of them are campaigning. none of them is actually speaking to the data of where we are. A good leader takes his people from where they are to where they ought to be, and it must be with an articulate, program that will be given to the people so that you can hold them to account. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a very fantastic one, and I must really appreciate our two speakers and our participants as well. Steve, I love his tenacity. Even the Holy Book says, the Bible says, says the days of John the Baptist. From the days of John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven suffered. And so Steve actually took everything by, so thank you so much. I want to appreciate you. Engineer Onyeukwu, thank you so much. I have to apologize to both of you. I can see there's a lot on your chest that you still haven't brought in, but I'll be getting across to you, myself and the Secretary General, immediately after this program to see. I believe we could slot something in 2 weeks from now if both of you are available, because we need to actually go into. We've not even started talking about, because we've got to look. We've got to, I believe those who are watching or those who are listening, because we're following up on some of the comments from social media, for example. They're also expecting us to help them, not to say to them vote this candidate or this, but to help them. I know, Engineer, you could try to, and Barrister Adebayo also made mention when Engineer Onyeukwu went, talking about, are we asking the right questions from these current ones? And of course, obviously, Barrister Adebayo also made mention of, the candidates that they're not even discussing along these lines. So we're going to go to our guests, and we're going to, go around everybody, give them room, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 minute, maybe maximum 2 minutes, but I'd expect that it should be 1 minute each. For people to have their say on this, because one of the feedbacks we've had in the past, people have actually complained that we didn't give them enough room to be part of the conversation. But it's also difficult as well at times when there's a lot to cover and we're struggling to even really scratch beyond the surface. Let me start with the Secretary General. We go with you, then we go Vivian Duru, Nomski Oji. We're going to give room to everybody to have a say on this. So I believe Steve, his connection is a bit dodgy, because we should actually be calling Steve next, but his connection is dodgy. So we're going to go back to him once he sorts that out. So let's go with you, PLIDE Shalafayemi. Let's have your take on this. If Nomski Oji can get ready after that, then Nkechi actually joined. She actually came before everybody else, apart from the two guests. So we're gonna give all of you room. So Shola, please keep it strictly to 1 minute or 1.5 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Convener. My take this evening, because we cannot look into the future without appraising the past. Appraising our present predicament and situation as a country, I can say unequivocally that the nation has failed. The current government has failed us. Flashing back to 2015, we had the three key fundamental factors. And the sector of the economy, which the president promised us that he was going to revive. We're looking at the economy as itself, we're looking at security, and we're looking at fight against corruption. If you're going to score this current government under those three indices, I can say invariably that the government has scored below 60%, even invariably below 50%. And when I'm now projecting into the future, and I want to subscribe to what Barrister Tope Adebayo says, it is difficult for any serious and forward-looking government to properly provide solutions into a myriad of problems that is confronting this nation without having adequate data. We've heard and we've read in the pages of newspaper where the government would have said I've disbursed 75 billion and we've disbursed $1.2 billion, on Empower and some other social intervention scheme. But it is unfortunate that nobody is asking questions. Who are the beneficiaries of this fund? How have we come up with this figure? Who actually, have this data that is helping government in dispersing these funds to the populace. Over time, you always have policies of assault, and that is why we cannot move forward as a nation. There are certain questions we need to be asking our current presidential aspirants. Away from coming out on social media to give us statistics, we need to interrogate them. We need to engage them on empirical figures and facts that is going to put this nation on a sound footing. But without that, it will be difficult for us to move forward. It will be difficult for us to have a paradigm shift in how this nation is being governed. So for me, I want to say that we've had wasted 7 years of failed promises, of the governance not in the right perspective. But we are not expected to continue in this perspective. We need to ask certain questions. We need to hold our leaders accountable. Without holding them accountable, we are not going to get a desired result. And that is just my take this evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Convener.
Thank you so much. Of course, we're coming back to the speakers at the end of it. Also, they can actually let's go to Vivian Duru. I'm going to call everybody, So, but we're going to make it really, really fast. So, Vivian Duru, you may unmute yourself. Let's hear from you, Vivian.
Hi, thank you for being able to convene this webinar. My point is, like the last speaker said, if we set up infrastructure, if we set up data, if we set up all this and we still don't have accountability, we still don't have these leaders being accountable to their people from the big top to the grassroots, nothing is going to work. It's easy to make promises that are not that we can't keep. It's easy to come doing politicking and tell people, I will do this, I will do that. But at the end of the day, what do we get out of it? What things are truly done? A leader tells us, a governor tells us he's going to build a road. And yes, he builds the road that in two rainfalls, it's washed away. And yet we say we have leaders, we have account, we have data, we have... Those things don't work except there's someone who accounts to the people what promises are made and what promises are truly kept. And unfortunately, our people, both grassroots and up, we enable these things because we are willing to look the other way as long as our person gets in. And after a person gets in, we fight for them no matter what until things go downhill. And it's to the point where we've lost everything. And then we start all over again. So until our people are willing to stand up and say wrong is wrong and right is right, despite who it is, despite where they are coming from, despite who this leader is, even if it's your brother who's vying, I think we still have a long way to go. That's my small input for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian Duru. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for those who are very well considered views. To be honest, if anybody, if anybody disagrees with that, really, then maybe they're not Nigerians, and they're not resident in Nigeria. So let me quickly go to Nomski Oji. Please just be ready, everyone. Just unmute yourself very, very quickly. Otherwise, I will have to jump you over just because of our time. Nomski, go on.
The thing I'll have to add at this point is, for me personally, I've gotten to a point where you don't discuss issues of Nigerian politics, political terrain, if you don't have the solution at the same time as you're making any comment to me. Right now, I think what I say is rather late to be talking about the past because all of us have felt it in one way or the other. However, it has pained us. So in summary, I might not have the language for it, but I will tell you, we all feel the pain one way or the other. So right now, I think our contribution should now be more focused on setting the steps of how we think it needs to be done. All the major three political leaders, parties, if we don't achieve anything, like with your platform, we need to give them a blueprint of how our own suggestion, what we believe they should be focusing on if they get to power. Right now, I'm almost feeling pity for the movement of any person that is going to win, because like the letdown of 2015, there might be a solid letdown if they don't communicate well or if they're not well prepared to tell us that it is going to take time, but this is what we are going to do. And this is how we are going to do it. Because most people are ready for an immediate change and it's not going to happen immediately. But we need to know that they are on the right path. And our contribution to them, all of them, I don't know who is going to emerge. But if we are going to be party to making this work, we need to articulate and however we will communicate it to them, this is how we believe. We think it should work, like we've all discussed here, structural change, going to the world level, bankrupt the center, let each region, each ward, each local government, each state, try and start generating their own resources and revenue. We need to pass it along, and that should be our contribution. Talking about how it failed, yes, it's good to talk about the past, but we should be pushing for how we want it to be resolved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nomski Oji. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate that point you've made. I think people are just you said something, and you said talking about it's almost like it's not even important anymore because everybody already felt the pains of the last 7 years. Thank you so much. And that's why we're hoping to have a part 2 of this whereby we now go into, because the second part of the topic is actually having extrapolated, and now for the incoming leaders and thank you. You made a point that I won't let pass. You actually mentioned that the movement you're feeling pity for the movements that are really galvanizing the candidates now, because somehow these are movements that expect immediate results. And you're right. Those candidates need to not dodging the weight of history, the weight of expectation, but to actually manage expectations to let people know changes would come, but they will take time. Thank you so much for that. Let me go to, I'll go to Matt Ehirudu, and after that, Oluwaseun Binton. But let me go to Matt Ehirudu, please.
Yes, thanks for the convener. My contribution is, I'm so happy that we're beginning to talk about these things because most of us felt indifferent to what had been going on in our country. And now that we're talking about it, the next step is to be participating in the process, just like, we can see massive youth turnout in PVC collections. That is essential because it's difficult to change the system from outside. We need someone that needs to represent us internally within the system where the authority and the power lies. So I'm happy that the awareness is increasing. We just need to push this through and increase our political awareness. It's difficult. I quote Obi, you can't allow the lowest in the society to manage the resources of the smartest. It doesn't work that way. That's only in Nigeria that we see that. That's what my few cents I want to push out. Thank you again for the platform.
Thank you so much for those very, very expensive few cents. You call them few cents, but those were very, very deep, And I thank you that you're one of those who have decided to actually, take a second view that, perhaps there is hope. Perhaps we can all working together make a change. Perhaps we can make an impact. Thank you so much, Mate Urudu, and thanks for joining us. Let me go to Oluwaseun Binton. Could you unmute yourself and just let's very, very quickly. After that, can we have John Emesi getting ready after that? Seun Binton. Okay, I'll have to jump over it just because of our time. I'm sorry. If you're not unmuting right away, I have to jump over. John Emesi, you may unmute yourself and let's hear from you. John Emesi. Okay. We're not getting any audio from your end, so just check your device again. We're not getting any audio, but we need to move on because of... okay. Okay, still no audio. I'm sorry, I have to move on. So I believe this is Engineer Aliu. Engineer Aliu, let's hear from you. Yeah, very quickly. 1 minute, 1.5 minutes maximum. Unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank God that we are moving on and we'll get there. The objective is, as we are moving towards the new dispensation, what is the way out? Now we have different candidates. Some of them, they are talking. Some are not saying anything. So we need to ensure that we are not voting in a line of religion, nor in the line of ethnicity. Each one must tell us what he has in stock. Gonna be there, somebody will come that I'm not aware of this and that because somebody was campaigning for them. So each person should be able to carry his cross, tell us what he has in stock for us. Already we are suffered, and a mad dog should not bite you twice. We have been beaten once. Now we are moving towards the next dispensation. Let us open our eyes and pick whoever is saying the truth. We need to look at character this time around. We need to look at history. Whoever has stolen before will steal again. Whoever has integrity before will still portray his integrity. So gone are the days where somebody will tell you what to do. We should be able to decipher who is the right candidate for us. And we'll get there by the grace of God. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Engineer Liu. I really appreciate you. And I know the last. I know you're one of those who will be very keen on the security aspect because that's being based in Kaduna there and all the issues going on, you know. But we'll touch on it at some point soon. Let me go. AZD or AZ. Yeah, AZD, I believe, or AZ, you know, so just unmute yourself. AZ. Okay, you're unmuted, but there's no audio from your end. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I have to move on. Don't worry. Next time. Okay, I can see planner Lukman, Ayole, Lukman, yeah? Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
The two guest speakers, they have really spoken well. Agree with them one way or the other. But my own point is, until the day we start voting in the right people, in the right position, then we can start having the new Nigeria we all have been craving for. I always take Fashola tenure as an example. If you're in Lagos, you will know how Lagos was before Fashola came on board. But when Fashola came in 2007, we can see the turnaround, we can see the changes he made. We can see how Fashola goes, even at night, to inspect projects, to inspect road constructions, to inspect our hospitals, how they are behaving. So we need to put the right leaders in the right places. Then the people also themselves, they have a lot to do. They must stop voting for financial, for money. They must stop collecting money before they vote. This thing must be in place so that we can have the better Nigeria we all have been praying for. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Plider Lukman. Thank you for being part of the webinar tonight. Thank you so much. I believe there is sorry if I jump over you, it's just because of our time. Bossede, there's Bossede. I just see a Bossede. Do you want to unmute and just otherwise we go to Akim Bobola because we need to go back to our speakers. Okay, Bossede has unmuted. Let's hear from you, please.
Good evening, all. I'm just joining in. I got this link from Neoma, my friend. Well, I should add a voice because I know generally the context on which we're discussing about the political dispensation of our dear country, Nigeria. for me, I must say that I'm almost completely disillusioned about the way things are going politically in this country. The problem started from when I noticed that we were politicizing security, and that's left without saying, you know, the situation we are now. I remember during Jonathan's time, the insecurity was, you know, ebbing in, and those who are meant to be non-partisan when politics is concerned, that is the retired generals, those who have been in the military, they came out, joined forces or voices with sectional sentiments, and it was made to look like it was because of President Jonathan, that we had security issues. But we can see that everything has blown up into people's faces now and is edging downwards. And I'm told many people, elites from the northern part of Nigeria, have now come down to Lagos with their families, while the poor farmers are the ones up north there dealing with bandits and all sorts of miscreants who go take over their harvests, you know, and demand ransom for them to be able to harvest their crops even. So that we all should come out and lend a voice and make sure that we bring in the right people is imperative if we are to survive as a country, unless people have plan Bs outside Nigeria. And apparently, I didn't think like others. I don't have a second passport. So we are in it together. What I want us to say or to do in this matter is that the future of this country, or the change we desire, does not depend on the president we put. We're also into president, and I'm just you know, a little worried. It starts from even the local government chairman you put in place. We're not sensitive to that. See, if we put in a president in that position that we want and expect that he will do something at that level that will be impactful to every Nigerian, we're not doing ourselves a good service. We need to start from our immediate environment. What is the local government doing? What is the chairman doing? What is my councillor doing in my ward K here where I live? I'm not even putting an eye to that. He's getting away with a lot of things. Then we move now to the House of Assembly, the legal people who are supposed to put the legal, you know, rulership of the states into consideration. Are we demanding from them? Are we demanding from the Lagos state government, the House of Assembly, what they owe us as Lagosians, tax-paying Lagosians? Is the casino man demanding from his local government and the casino House of Assembly what they should do? We think it's the president that will come and do everything. We're not. I'm sorry. By the time we put in the right president there, I'm telling you the same structure that brings down, that swallows every good man that intends to do good in Nigeria, we swallow him up. Look at, there was no good accountant general. We got one from the system, 80 billion or whatever is gone. You keep having that kind of situation unless we treat this problem from the roots. I'm with you on this matter. I'm willing to listen and learn from everybody. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, thank you so much. And I know some others there would have said, he said 1 minute, he said 1.5 minutes. The reason you please, you know, number one, fortunately we were able to jump over a few people who could not, maybe because of network issues. But then, sorry, the words actually came so deep from inside there. You could actually tell you just wanted these Nigerian who feel so pained about what is going on to just pour their hearts out. Thank you so much, Bossede, for joining us, and we hope you join us for the part 2 of this, because we're going to focus more on the issues, for the next leader. The same point you made is the point some of us have made again and again and again. I asked a friend of mine he's also from Engineer Onyeukwu state. I said, what's the name of your local government chairman? He didn't know. I said, so we're just so concerned about the president. And then a lot of people at the lower levels, they get away with much. This is not about me, it's about our 2 speakers. So let me quickly get back to them. I have only Akim Bobola left. Akim Bobola, let's just quickly listen to you, and then we'll go back to our guest and still try to finish very quickly. Akim Bobola, over to you.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So, yes, I really like the people who spoke earlier, that's Mr. Tope Adebayo and the other speaker. However, I took 2 points, that is with regards to data and having philosophers. I agree with Mr. Tope when he was talking about the data of the team. You will see, if we can link this data to itself to even security. How is the government still being held accountable as regards data? If you look at it right from inception, when this issue of Boko Haram and even the bandits have been invaded the country, you realize that even the government, they can't even they don't even have that enough data to be able to assess who are within the communities. How are these people getting out of hand? Can they even hold their families accountable to know their whereabouts? Does the government even have this database itself in which they can access information into those who are coming into the state or even going outside the country? There are a lot of niches and maybe all these neighboring country citizens that have come into Nigeria without even accountability. They don't even have paperwork. They are not even data to even access all these communities and hold them accountable to know where indeed this problem is rooted from. If you look at the other issue as regards philosophers, yes, I agree that maybe we need to have a leader who is a philosopher or be surrounded by those people that are actually philosophers. But if you look at it, when the leader is not a philosopher, and sometimes he has a cabinet, or maybe people around him that are philosophers, does their voice get to be heard? Does their contribution get to be entertained or even implemented? You will see that the government is covered with cabals, and they have a lot of people who even they've invested something into getting a leader up there. But because of what they've invested, the leader will feel so bad to actually set aside the implementations that are even genuine, and they will take over those people who have actually put in their investment so that they can get something in return, having a sense of entitlement from the national cake, so-called. So when I believe that the problem in Nigeria can be solved, because when there's a problem, there must be solutions, definitely. But since 1960, Nigeria has been having problems, and despite the fact that we have solved some, a lot of problems remains unsolved. And these problems keep reoccurring, and it keeps getting bad day by day. So some have discovered that our problem is even more than corruption, because all what is out there, even when Buhari came into power, he said he's going to make sure he eradicates corruption. But look at what is happening under his administration. We can link it to the Accountant General. So Accountant General, within the space of how many months, they've been alleged of corruption. They are missing funds, and yet the government is doing nothing about it. It goes up to the news, and we don't hear anything about it anymore. So, and some of the problem is unemployment. Because once there's unemployment, how does the country even become productive? There is also lack of unity, which in a way brings poverty. So, I believe that one of the major problems of Nigeria also is poverty. And even the corruption we are talking about results into poverty itself. So if our political leaders are poor in ideas, you will discover that there is not much that they can offer to the people. Because once the brain is not functioning, because our leaders are the brains of the country. So once the brain is not functioning, how do you expect the other organs of the body and everything to function well? So I think we need to solve this problem and provide solutions beyond sentiments or even entitlements, or beyond maybe the religion background, or maybe where you came from a particular state in the country, maybe be north or south or east. So we should be more concerned about being a nationalist and a stakeholder in the country. Because if you are a stakeholder in something and you actually believe in the system and you believe that it's going to work out, you will definitely put in all your efforts and make sure that that thing actually work out. We can't run away from the problems. As I've seen many Nigerians running out of the country and everything, we can't run away from the problems. All we can do is to solve it. And once it is solved, once the environment is conducive for everyone, the country will thrive, and even the economy will thrive. Everyone will not have any reason to even move out. Because even back then, the people out of the country are more interested in even coming to the country because they know that they can benefit. But now all the resources and everything are being taken out of the country, and the country is dying day by day. So in other words, many of the solutions devised for moving the country forward haven't been based on emotional appeal or outrage and lamentation rather than sober analysis. Yes, it is just possible that solutions have not worked, mainly because the problems themselves have been misdiagnosed. So I believe that we can do more and have our own stake in the country. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Akim Bola. I really want to thank all of you, and I want to thank our speakers who have been so patient. But you know what? Those are valid points. Thank you so much, Akim Bola, for those views, and thanks to all the others who really pushed. It just fills me with hope. At times there's this despondency. I feel it's not about me, it's not personal, it's just about, I have this feeling that everybody has just lost hope. Most people have lost hope in the system. All they want to do is just use student routes to the UK or go to Canada, or everybody just wants to. It's really, it fills you with a lot of despondency. But tonight, I believe that hope has been rekindled. There's still a lot of people who believe in Nigeria, and I know by the grace of God we'll get it right. I'll go first of all to Barrister Tope Adebayo, and then go to Engineer Onyeukwu to have the final say, and then of course our secretary will give vote of thanks after that. So Barrister Tope Adebayo, how about if we gave both of you 7 minutes each? Does it? Or 5 minutes? Let's give you 5 minutes each. I think it makes sense that way. 5 minutes, make your point, and then we go over to the SecGen. Yeah.
Okay, I think let me start by stating that despondency will not develop our country. No matter how bad the situation is, we must come together to offer solutions, that will turn our nation around, because there is no nation like Nigeria. For some of us, when we travel abroad, after 3-4 days, I'm already missing home. I don't know about, I don't know how some of you abroad cope. And after 3 or 4 days, I'm already missing Nigeria. So no place like home, I want to come back. And, even when during winter, you want to run away from that place because it's not the best place to be. So I believe that we need to put on our thinking cap and get involved. And I've been saying this for a long time. We until we are power makers, cannot see things here. The worst of us.
Barrister Adebayo, can you rewind to the last 1 minute, because your network has been very poor for the last 1 minute, so just rewind, Yeah, so.
Yes, as I said, my charge for us is that we must get involved. Get involved in political, in the political party. Be part of those making, decision at even if it's at a ward level. Make your little contribution at the ward level. Don't sit at home and continue to condemn the system. Because let me tell you, either you criticize or not. Decisions will be made about leadership of this country by people that you consider to be less of human beings. I told someone today, I said, political parties, especially the established one, they are so structured that they have that structure from national level to regional level, from regional to state, from states to local government to what, and what to polling units. So without even doing any work, any established political party has guaranteed 20 votes per polling unit. So when you say you want to defeat them, you better think twice. Because those structures will work for them.
I know we're running off this program, and I know we're not being political today, but the point you've just made now, it goes to the very heart of the OB, for example. And I don't want to put you in a difficult situation. If it's a question you want to sidestep, be at liberty to. We've concentrated on policies today, thankfully all of us. But you talked about structure and guaranteed votes from structure. But was it Vivian Duro, one of our participants, who actually said, there's the new movement, the drive, the PVCs, the rates. Now we're looking at the registrations. There are about 6-point-something million new registrations by the youths. So would that not mean a thing within that context? Does it not mean a thing? Of course, we're not saying we cannot put figures together and say those 6 million votes are for one person, but we're just saying, does that not mean a thing within this context?
Well, without sounding dismissive, I would say that from my little experience, political experience, all that would mean is that it will shake the system. Obi is going to shake the system and it's going to send signal to the establishment that there is a threat to the hegemony over the nation. And that the current movement would lead to leadership of Nigeria come off it. Don't let us even joke about it. It's not going to happen. You remember this someday. But it's going to shake the establishment. It's going to send signal that, and if the movement is sustained for another 4 or 8 years, we will be able to displace these people. But as it is today, let me tell you what is meant by political structure. Political structure are people who believe that their political sustenance, and relevance in politics is dependent on some people, and that the moment they show disloyalty to those people, they will suffer for another 4 years. So you add them at the polling unit, they are expecting that their political leader at the board will bring some palliative to them, to distribute to them whenever the government declares it. So if they refuse to perform, they know that they will be noted down. It's a complex structure. You need to get involved to know that it's not a social media joke. These poor people, they rely on them, so they go to polling unit. They have canvassers, 5 per polling unit. Those canvassers, their delivery will determine whether political leaders at the world will remember them when goodies come from the state. So this is like the kind of structure you are dealing with. So it's complex. It's not something that can be defeated within months of election, but this movement is going to send shock down the spine of those that think that they have this country, under their full grasp. And if it is sustained, I believe that there may be a change, but not in this year election.
Thank you so much.
I don't really say what. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barrister Adebayo. Thank you. And I must admire your courage as well, because that is not a question most people will want to answer, because one, they don't want to sound oh my God, Nomsky Oji said unfortunately correct. Unfortunately correct. Thank you so much, Nomsky. And I think we also Dr. Akiba. I didn't know, but I believe one of the participants tonight is actually Dr. Akiba. Thank you so much for being part of us. So I go to you, Engineer Onyeukwu, with everything, the comments, the opinions of the participants and everything. And of course, that same question I asked Barrister Tope Adebayo. And putting into consideration the statement by the very respected Patutomi, the economist, Professor Patutomi, who said yesterday that for the OB movement, for example, there are going to be 15 people at each polling unit. Vis-a-vis what Barrister Tope Adebayo already said about 5 people, 5 canvassers whose lives and livelihoods and tomorrow actually depend on ensuring they sustain the status quo for the ruling class, you know. So and of course what he said about shaking the movement, let me just come to you on that.
Somebody said, unfortunately, correct. You could see the emotion from the commentary when you went around the room. This thing change is a marathon and not a sprint. You need to have staying power for people to trust you. All right. The country is fast, wide, and largely heterogeneous. All right. A change that is not managed, that is not contained, could lead to catastrophic reactions that could go south. Right? And you need to really run this country, talk to every person in this country. Social media is just like 5-10% of its importance of our national demography. All right? And where are the cost of people? All right. So for me, I will hope a situation in which the movements, the new social movements, all right, is sustained and used to be able to deliver positive change, to restructure, to define that thing called restructuring, to keep on sharpening, restructuring, like a furnace, to burn off the inefficiencies in our political system. Communicating something, making the change in the establishment and shaking that establishment so that when a new structural reality is bettered, it becomes one that works for the society, for every member of the society, no matter where it's situated. I'll give you a quick example. Lately, keep on seeing things on social media, submission about some of these of the presidential candidates, people looking for certificates and all that. But people paying attention on things that doesn't matter. All right, so the man who is 60, 70, asking him for his school level, what's the issue about that? But the key thing I need to pay attention, in one of these political aspirants, they asked for occupation, and this presidential aspirant was politician.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's in the media. If you go and check the INEC submissions for one of these, people like this is talking about secondary school, that. But occupation was still a politician.
Oh my God.
The structure Adebayo is real. If you go to the communities, when you talk about it, I'm active in the communities, like I should have been in my community makes it now, but you go around, you go to the ward elections, you go to the delegates, the Congress, there's some people for 4 years, the society, the economic system have so dislocated them that their connection to sustenance is that political process. Yes, it's all. It's unaccounted for. You cannot even patch them. It's not what it's a structure. All right. Why do you think, for example, I'm close to some of members in the Federal Assembly, the National Assembly. The vast majority of them are all group. All right. But money is passed through them, millions every month. But there's a structure that's been fed for that 4 years. It's just like an ecosystem of money. It's inefficient money that doesn't go. So what I wish that this movement that is coming, so that we don't burn it out. It's good that the society, the nation is standing behind the movement. I wish that this movement can be channeled to burn out some of these inefficiencies that is start changing our side. Yeah, let me mention Obi himself. I like the way he projects himself. This is the that what I've been doing. This is that. Those interrogations. Let us start getting it right. Then let us start finding a way to win this
Jonah,
in the local government in the world, you know, that force somebody in the state assembly to be
what
able
fell
to
down upstairs? Was
raise
that from your
money,
room?
you know, keep on funding this
Okay.
thing. When you see that, you question
For Chinese, you know, for Chinese, you know.
school that is costing millions of
You said
naira,
7:30.
4 times the money that people that have used
Oh,
to
okay,
fix
okay,
their
okay.
children
That's
in
fine. When I
the
finish,
period
I'll drive you there now.
4 times the money ASU is asking for. But it's difficult to give this money to ASU to run our education, but we're funding this money to the money problem in our education system in terms of classrooms, in terms of teacher equipment, in terms of equipment, is feeding program. That money, indirectly, let us be real here, have gone down to that structure we're talking about. It is well accounted, money coming out, quarter by body, went down, it's cascaded down, all right? It didn't go to somebody's pocket. But the pocket is going to is a vast spec. We're 120 million in this country. Factory 40 million could have been working for political structures that are not rich. You know, you can't just start that on Twitter or social media. It's real. But you don't even have to distort this thing suddenly with force, because you are going to dislodge people in the society, you are going to cause instability in the society. So what we will say about this movement needs to be managed so that it doesn't create, it don't go from fire, from fire pan to fire. We don't create instability in the society, in the communities. These are what we're talking about. So what's happening is a good thing, is a success. Or people should calibrate the expectation so that we don't go from 2014, 2015, you raise those, then your person wins. And even the kind of crisis like what we went through the road, when somebody was saying like he feels sorry for the next incoming administration. For me, I wouldn't even, you know, if you calibrate all these things, is to find a way to stop the movements. Of course, I don't think 2023, if I'm to look at the crystal ball, it's not 2023. But if we want to sustain and keep on showing the many roads to society that society politics can be played this way, public service can be efficient. You don't have to be able to use money for ASU and claim that you're feeding school children. The message doesn't work. The school children doesn't work. That if you support primary education, it could become like what Agolo did in the West in many years ago. You know, start changing this narrative and you know sustain it. Sustain it, then I think we can be able to sustain the nation. In a way, we can be half hope. People can win trust back in government. That you can things can complicate. So it becomes a marathon. All right. But if we do something in the spring and 2023, we can have this joint and displacement in our society. Maybe it's my theory, you know, maybe again, but let the best man win. But the most important is not about the person, it's about the structure, the questions we need to ask. The structure we are working on currently today is not sustainable. It hasn't worked for us. The current government meant well in 2015. I still believe that the current government, the president, the commander-in-chief meant well. But good feelings, good, which just like the Gubernatorial administration, doesn't solve it, doesn't win, doesn't provide good governance to the citizens. There is a system that works for that citizenship. We need to get that system in place. We need to first find a way to restructure the governance, our social system, our social contracts, our governance system. It's a journey. We need to be able to harness this movement to get that journey, to get that destination. People can be able to start moving the society forward. That's my take. Thank you for that.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. I want to appreciate both of you. Of course, this is not. It's usually our section by tradition that concludes our webinars. But I want to thank you really so much for the. It's been such. And all, in fact, our participants as well. You know, we've had about. In and out, we've had about 42, you know, in and out. I believe some networks, some, you know, in and out. We've had about 42 in-house participants tonight, and it's been a very fantastic event. My hope, I've always been a believer in Nigeria, but like I said Barrister Adebayo emphasized that point as well, that, you know, despondency isn't going to help. But can you really help but not being despondent when every young Nigerian, in fact, yesterday a friend of mine rang me, and I'm talking of a friend of over 50 now, I'm not talking of a friend of in their 20s or 30s, and, you know, all the person wanted was, you know, how can I live? And I got another call the week before, and I joked, not, this person is 60 plus. And what they were concerned about as well was, how can we leave Nigeria? How can it be facilitated? So there's just that loss of hope in a better tomorrow. But I believe that with things like this, and we believe that both of you have talked about sustaining these movements, the movements shaking the system, but ensuring that nothing, you don't let it fizzle out and then it becomes nothing comes out of it, so that at the end of 4 years, 8 years, at least we can start saying it is very easy for, why is Engineer Collins Onyeukwu, why can he not be governor of Abia State, for example? But we know as things stand today, no matter the ideas he has, no matter the plans he puts in place, no matter how viable his ideas for making the economy the new Dubai, of the new Singapore of Nigeria, the fact is the political system, will not allow him. So, and Barrister Tope Adebayo as well. Of course, we want to air some of his experiences from his political journey, from his gubernatorial run, when next we have this. So I thank all of you again for joining us. Nomsky has been putting quite a lot in the chat, but thank you, all of you. We're going to hopefully put together a communique, a press document from this from tonight's webinar. Let me call on our sergeant to do the usual and close the program tonight for us. But before then, next week, please don't forget, we're having Professor Abayomi Faweimi and Dr. Adeoye Oyewole, Head of Psychiatry, Ladoke Akitola University of Technology, joining us again, because we need to finalize that session on ASU, and hopefully we take this one the part 2 of this 2 weeks from now, and then let me leave it at that. Mr. Sergeant, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Convener, for this interesting and enlightening session. I want to sincerely appreciate our two guest speakers, Barrister Tope Adebayo and the Engineer Onyeukwu. But for my take this evening, because I believe it is an insanity for us to continue to do the same thing over and over again and to expect a different output and a different result. We must change our approach to governance. We must change our participatory index. And at the same time, we must also hold our leaders accountable. Unfortunately, many of us, raised trust regarding the educational qualification of our presidential aspirants. And to make it worse, none of them deem it fit to clear the air and to come to the press to address the nation on the imbroglios affecting their educational qualifications. That's to say that our would-be presidents have taken it upon themselves to take the citizens for granted. They know what they are doing, and it's only take God for us to get something different. If we continue to experience the personality of our presidential aspirants, we might be shocked to know that in one way or the other, all of them are falling short of what our expectation of giving us a varied nation. But I know in our next discourse, we will definitely be discussing this topic and these topical issues in-depthly. But I want to sincerely appreciate our guest speakers, and at the same time, I want to appreciate all our in-house audience and all our audience who have joined us on different social media, who are staying blue and being a partner on this transformative agenda of putting Nigeria on a sound footing and to make sure that we engender a nation that works. I want to sincerely appreciate everybody for joining us on again, and I wish you a fantastic and a glorious new week. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you, everyone.